What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 4 of my Eastside Hockey Manager Early Access Let's Play with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hopefully you guys are good. Today, we're going to talk about what's been happening so far this season. We're going to have a look at a few trades and stuff that's going on, and the first one, well, is on screen for you now. And again, it's another YouTube chat, what do you think kind of question, I guess, that I'm posing, because I've agreed a trade with the Sabres. And I've obviously been reading the comments a lot, and a lot of people have been suggesting that it's going to be a bit of a rebuilding job at the Maple Leafs, you know, really to get them to where I need the Leafs to be. And I got this trade that I've kind of negotiated over time, and I want to know if you guys think it's worth taking. So, what we get from it, pretty simple. We get 2 first-round picks in the 2015 draft, that being this coming summer's entry draft. Obviously, the Maple Leafs, if you don't know, they already have 2 first-round draft picks from, obviously they have their own, but another one from a previous deal. So in getting these 2 from the Sabres, it would give me 4 first-round picks in the draft. The picks belong to ourselves, the Islanders. I'm trying to remember who the others are now. Oh, obviously the Sabres, and then there is one other which is escaping my mind. I'm sure someone's going to write it in the comments anyway and can work it out for me. So that's what we get from this deal. What we lose? Well, we lose Dion Phaneuf, who is a good player, don't get me wrong. He's our second best defensive man, but he's 29. He's on £7 million, or rather $7 million a year, which is a pretty hefty sum. And we also lose Joffrey Lepull, who is 31 years old, is on a very hefty wage again, really. If we look at his scout report, good for the second line, but very prone to injuries. A lot of people warned me that he's like prone to injuries in real life. So it's a trade offer that sees us lose 2 fairly experienced players who are on pretty hefty salaries, but aren't kind of the best players in their positions. You know, they're not my best defenders, they're not my best attackers, and in return, we get the 2 picks. There are also the rights to 2 players. One here is Pierre, I'm not even going to, I guess, Engvall, who is Swedish. I'm not too fussed about losing him. He doesn't look that great. And the other player we lose is Verhey, who, if I just look at his scout report, has third line potential. So he's never going to be a first kind of line player. So I kind of feel in losing those 4 players to get 2 draft picks, not only does it allow me to really build for the future, but if we can get luck in the draft lottery and get some early picks, I might be able to snap up 1, maybe even 2 if I'm extremely lucky franchise players in a single draft, along with some really solid kind of talent to go alongside that, and potentially you know, get 4 players who could play in my kind of, I guess, best 6 players on the ice team in a few years' time. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to take this deal, but just so you guys are aware of it. Anyway, since the last episode, we have actually played a few games. I posed on Twitter the question of how many games should I play, and a lot of people said 8 to 10 between each episode, keep things flowing, kind of having the region of 8 to 10 episodes during the regular season. We might have a few extra ones if there's like big games coming up. But yeah, today we are going to be taking on the Blue Jackets, actually. As you can see, looking at the table, we're doing very well looking at the standings. After 9 games, we've won 6, lost 2, and lost 1 after overtime, leaving us with 13 points. We have a penalty kill percentage of 88.5% and a power play percentage of 18%. Perhaps a little bit low, but we can look to improve that. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with that and the start that we've made. You can see as well we've scored a decent amount of goals, but despite the start, I do feel like a long-term build for the future is probably the way to go in terms of just kind of getting these draft picks, making the most of it, and I guess waiting a year or 2, maybe 3, to really have our golden years at the club. Anyway, let's have a look at the schedule, or rather our schedule, since the kind of last game, which of course was against the Canadians. If you want to watch that game live, feel free to do so. Anyway, since then, a few games. The first one was the loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. This was actually a result that we lost in overtime, 5-6. Pretty disappointing. We lost on penalties as well, so perhaps even more heartbreaking there. We then beat the New York Rangers in a really, really convincing result. This was 3-0. Bozak getting 2, Kadri with 1, Rijmsdijk getting a few. Good to see our first line contributing a lot in terms of the goal scoring. Obviously, you expect that, but it's still good to see. Liverpool did get the assist, who of course I have offered out in that trade. Anyway, next win was against the Avalanche, 5-3. Pretty convincing all in all. We were actually 4-0 up after the first 2 periods of the game. We did slow down in the third and we lost that 3-1 if you want to look at it that way. But you can see that it was a pretty good performance by everyone. It is worth noting that Liverpool has contributed a lot to the team, but I still just think he's worth the trade out. But Phaneuf getting a few assists too. But all in all, a very, very good team performance. The next 2 games were against the Red Wings. We lost the first one 2-1. This is the only, or one of the only defeats we've had in regulation play. We were actually ahead. It was a pretty low scoring game. They came back from a goal down in the first period to get the win, which was pretty disappointing, but we did exert some revenge as we bounced back at home against them, or rather, sorry, away against them. I must admit, the fact that these are the other way round in football and in English sports, at least, you'd have the home team on the left is throwing me off somewhat. But you can see here, a good performance, no score in the first period. Second period, we actually went 2-1 down, but Bozak and Rijmsdijk grabbing the 2 important scores that saw us go 3-2 ahead. In what was kind of a kind of good performance. The next win was against the Islanders. Really, really impressive this one. 8-2, but that was not the talking point of this game. If we look at the game stats just so you guys can see them, we dominated, really. I mean, we made a lot of the chances that we had and scored a lot of goals. But the real talking point, I guess, was if we go to the play-by-play for the third period, there was a fight, and it wasn't just any fight, it was a full-blown line kind of scrap with just 3 players from each team getting called up for fighting. It was a little bit exciting watching the dots pound the crap out of each other. As you can see, essentially probably half the play-by-play was just the exact steps of how the fight kind of broke out. I did contemplate sitting here and kind of reading out the exact line of events and letting you guys close your eyes and imagine everything that happened. All I'm going to say is Grabowski landed a hell of a lot of punches in quick succession. Wow, so I'm getting choked up. It was that exciting. Anyway, last 2 results to tell you guys about. We lost to the Bruins. It was disappointing. 2-1. We were actually 2-0 down early on in this one. We fought back, but the fight was not enough. They probably deserved their win. But all in all, it was a tight game. Perhaps we'll feel unfortunate, but they are going very well, Boston, so I can't be too disappointed about it. The last result was against the Sabres, where we won 5-2, however. We went 3-0 up very early on. They actually fought back, and there was a nervy spell perhaps in the second period, but we held strong. 2 late scores in the third and final period did see us get the win. Anyway, let's get on to today's game. We are going to be taking on, if we look here, the Columbus Blue Jackets. So a big task. I should just quickly actually talk about the changes that would happen if Phaneuf and Liverpool leave. So the way that I'm looking at things is we are going to be very bare on the left winger position. That's the position out of the 2 that would need fixing more immediately. What I'd look to do in the case of Phaneuf is actually promote Stuart Percy from the Marlies and just bring him straight into the team. I think he has a lot to offer to us. He's 21, he's one of our best prospects in the team, and having him on the third line defensively, maybe even playing him slightly higher for development, I think would be kind of big for us. So that's what would happen there. And Liverpool, we don't really have an immediate replacement. As you can see, I've kind of been fiddling around trying to work out who would come in and whatnot. But yeah, that's what we have right now, I guess, in terms of the situation at hand. Anyway, we do actually need to remove a player from the roster because I've promoted a few players to help with the kind of current issue. So I guess what we'll do is we will place Eric Brewer on the waivers. Okay, that does not remove him from the roster. Okay, we have to send him to the Marlies. There we go, sorted. We got there eventually. But to be honest, the guy who I've just removed now, who I can't find, a bit old. I'd rather have Stuart Percy come into the team. But anyway, if we continue to the game, I can't actually check my tactics because I've already locked them in. But we're taking on the Blue Jackets. We're looking for a win. So a lot of people asked me to play on the Zoom view, so we're going to do that. In terms of highlights, I'm going to put them on key only for the first period. Then for the second period and third period, whenever there's a goal between the 2 teams, a single one, I'm going to move to extended. And elsewhere, I'm going to play on key. I'm also going to play with action speed on normal, just because last episode it was a little bit slow. I appreciate it's kind of hard to keep up with it on the higher kind of speed, but at the same time I don't want to sit around forever. So we'll see how we get on here. Anyway, this is the first period. We have possession. Can we get it in? Of course we can get it in. Kessel scores. Take a bow. 1-0. He puts the biscuit in the basket. I asked for some alternatives to biscuits in baskets because it makes me hungry saying it. So if you've got any. Someone said put the stamp on the postcard. That's exactly what Fanuff's just done there with a scorcher from range. And we make it 3-0 here. We are looking... Oh, sorry, 2-0 here. I can't count to 3, my word. But yeah, I don't know if I'm having beginner's luck here or what. Because everyone was like, the Maple Leafs suck. The Leafs suck. And we're not doing that bad. I think getting rid of players like Fanuff is going to hurt us in terms of losing one of our first choice defensive men, but promoting from within is healthy, and I think the first round draft picks will already allow me to push on for the Stanley Cup in the coming years. That's kind of the way I'm looking at things, I guess, in terms of a long rebuilding process that will really see me get a kind of golden generation, I guess. If the 4 first round picks could be huge for us. But anyway, we're on the attack here. We have a chance. It's cleared. But I'll tell you who hasn't cleared it. They haven't. Kessel blasts it in. He puts the stamp on the postcard. Now we've got 2 stamps on it. We can send it even further. And at the moment, it's 3-1 to us. So because of the 2-goal deficit, we're going to stick with things on key. But it's looking pretty good. Let's just have a quick look at the stats. Oh, we score again. Take a bow, boys. Kadri's 10th point of the season. So looking at it here, we are actually dominating this game. We've had a lot more hits and stuff. It's looking pretty healthy. Pretty healthy indeed. I guess the issue with playing on these key highlights is the fact the games are going to be a lot shorter. However, I would like to, at the end of this game, go through all the team stats, show you guys who's been scoring the points for us, who's been contributing. To be honest, Lepulla's contributed a lot, which is one of the few reasons I could consider kind of keeping him. But at the same time, because of how injury prone he is, I don't expect him necessarily to be around performing as he is for the entire season, and it's going to be hard for him to perform as he has done so far. But anyway, we'll see how we get on here. A few face-offs breaking out. We are just dominating the stats here. We're having a lot more shots. Right now, we've got our first line on. Fowler has been performing really well, our new defensive man who we traded for. And we're on the attack again. And I'll tell you what, Kessel has scored again. Take a bow, my son. 5-2. We are looking really good here against the Columbus Blue Jackets. I mean, if we could get a bit of a blowout, that would be incredible. Although, to be honest, our defending has been questionable as the Blue Jackets will sound the horn. And thank you to those who helped out with terminology last episode. I should stress that. I kept calling the penalty box the sin bin, and I kept calling the puck the ball. Now, I apologise for the ball puck thing. It's going to happen a lot. I have no doubts about it. And the reason it's going to happen is because I've recorded over 500 bloody FM videos where I watch Football Manager and watch football be played on dots in 2D. So it's kind of like fighting the habit of a lifetime. So it's definitely a puck, even if I say ball. And I'm sorry, because it's going to happen and you guys are going to be bashing your heads against tables till blood comes out. I know. The die-hard hockey fans, they're not going to be happy. They're going to be revolting. I hope you don't bash your head against a table. And I hope Kessel doesn't do that either, because he's just made it 6-3. There's been very few penalties in this game. And we've actually won it very convincingly in the end. Looking at the score chart, you can see here, 58 shots and 23 shots blocked. That's like 81 shots. That's mad. That is mad. I don't know how that number 81 has gone in. I mean, it looks pretty set on the crossbar. Not that I'm complaining. You can see we scored a lot of our goals from just outside the blue paint, which is pretty decent. And you can see number 3. Who was number 3? It was Fanuff with a long-range belter. Unfortunately, he might not be doing them for too much longer. So the dilemma really is, do I try and kind of stick it out this year? And I should also point out the Blue Jackets have been going really, really well. That is a big win against them. I know they're in a different conference to us, but to beat one of the teams right at the top of the table who had only previously lost one of their first 9, and to beat them like that is really impressive. But yeah, I'm getting sidetracked here. The real dilemma I have is, do I trade away the players that I've shown in the deal for the first round picks, or do I kind of just sit on it? Other than that, there's not been any new deals. I don't remember there being any, at least. If we look at transactions, In fact, I think we have to go to our own screen. Here we go. So yeah, Cam Fowler's still the only trade that's actually happened. I've kind of been happy to stick with what we've got. But we look at the statistics here. You can see them. So in terms of points, Kessel, Bozak, Reimsdijk all contributing a lot. That is, of course, our front line. Kadri's done well. Fanuff and Luppel have both contributed a fair bit, but at the same time, I don't want to take things back to the deal, but I'm looking to get rid of them. Nazem Kadri's done really well. He's got 5 goals and 5 assists in 10, which is really good for him, obviously. He's only 24, has some potential to maybe move into the first line eventually. So I'm really pleased that he is doing a good job for us in the second line. A lot of guys talking about getting a new centre. Well, I don't think I need to do that just yet. I feel like Bozak's done a good job for us at centre, so I'm pretty happy with that all in all. Cam Fowler as well doing well. You can see here he's got 6 assists. No goals yet, but still a pretty impressive performance for the defensive man who came in this year. But yeah, that's a bit about what's been going on at the club and at the franchise. What I'd ask, guys, is if you've got any suggestions for the trade deal that I might be able to adjust, or if you think I should just take the deal now. There is the option to potentially stall the deal, but the big question there is the trade still going to be available towards the end of the season? And I kind of feel like it's too good an opportunity not to pass up now. But we're going strong in the league. I'm very happy with how we're kind of getting on. I'm looking forward to the next few games to come back and hopefully still be in a similar position. So yeah, that's going to wrap things up from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, smash the like button. If you've got any feedback on how I'm playing EHMEA or the videos themselves, if you're someone who's experienced playing the game, if there's stuff that I'm missing that you'd like to see more of, let me know. We're still kind of fleshing out a format with these episodes, and I appreciate I am new to the game. I don't necessarily know what you guys want to see, you experienced veterans. I think next episode we might talk about training a little bit. I've not looked into the training yet, but it seems fairly similar to Football Manager's old training system, which I've not used in forever. That might be something I fiddle with between now and next kind of episode. But anyway, yeah, if you've enjoyed the video, smash the like button as I mentioned. Get your comments, feedback down below. If you're new around here, subscribe. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.